My friend from California, Mr. DeSaulnier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all the witnesses. It's an important discussion. I appreciate it being here. In the discussion in this committee for the past year, we've had a lot of not very subtle sort of elites versus working people. And I'm reminded of my parents who were the first people in their families to ever go to college and how proud they were of that. My dad's dad was a cab driver in Lowell, Massachusetts, who ended up owning the company but never went to college. My mom's dad was a firefighter, an Irish firefighter outside of Boston, who could imagine, who was very proud of the fact that he worked very hard so that his daughter could go to college. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, Dr. Morgan, is sort of following in that, which we forget sometimes, that the American higher education system is something to be tremendously proud of. Like all human institutions, it has its shortcomings and sometimes things that I disagree with. But the importance of remembering that the people who go to college are like my grandparents aspiring for their kids to go to college. It's not all people who have had the good fortune to inherit a lot of money. Most people are aspired to it. In California, I'm very proud of the University of California, California State University system, and particularly the community college system, so that there is a track if people choose, if they want to do, they want to graduate from high school and do career tech, that's great too, and we have a great program for that. But really discouraging the past year and all the politics, the optics of who are fighting for working people and elites and other class sort of challenges that this country has had. Dr. Morgan, what are the things that you really stand out to you and what we refer to on our side as the big ugly bill that's really making it harder for that tradition of Americans to be able to aspire, if they choose, to go to college?
I really appreciate your question. I also grew up in a working class area of Massachusetts where not a lot of people went to college. And
you don't have an accent. Way to go.
Over time, I just lost it.
I was born in Lowell and grew up and went to college in Worcester.
Oh, great. I grew up in Fall River.
Oh, Fall River, wicked. Go Pats.
So you saw exactly what you're describing. You know, people were really focused on getting their kids a better life, a more secure life than what they had. They're saving to send their kids to college. And, you know, in many cases, that is what we want for our country, right? But what we've seen over time, from the time that I was going to college to now, that people have to take on incredible amounts of debt, both parents and students, to make that happen, right? And so they're ending up in a very risky situation where if they don't get the job that they thought they were going to get, they don't have that income they thought, they are going to be struggling to repay those loans and regretting the decision. And H.R. 1 makes that much more risky for people. You know, we're going to see the Medicaid and SNAP cuts squeeze state budgets to push public college tuition even higher. And the bill makes it more expensive for people to pay back their loans as well. So if you are one of those people who takes on more debt than you can afford based on your income, this bill pushes you closer to default than you would have been otherwise.
So I listen to younger people all the time, my two sons in particular, who complain about baby boomers. Elizabeth Warren's great book, The Two-Income Trap, long before she got involved in politics, I think really summed up the challenges generationally that the 5 household costs that economists count are education, healthcare, transportation, spacing taxes, and I'm spacing on the last one. But when you look at those generationally, and education a key part of that, and what we just talked about, it really makes the affordability issue tougher. I heard a comment in a meeting today that wages are far underperforming GDP. So all that money is going to capital investors. So the concentration of wealth is getting worse and worse, and education is part of that. So the very thing that some of my colleagues rail about when they complain about elitism, their actions, from my perspective, are fostering that. Working people and poor people can't afford to go to higher education when they have to worry about their paycheck to paycheck, but the rest of the GDP is growing because of private equity.
Absolutely. We're increasing that gap between working class families and the wealthiest families in this country. And increasingly, our economy is getting tied up only in the decisions made by that wealthy elite part of the country, and the rest of us are kind of left on our own, it's really concerning. The only other thing I would say is that those same things that Elizabeth Warren wrote about so many years ago, education, healthcare, housing, those are the same costs that we're still waiting for our leaders to fix for us so that we can all live a more secure and stable life.
Well, as Benjamin Franklin said at the founding of this country, any investment in education will always be the best investment for Americans. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'd like to now have my friend from California,